In today's show, we're looking at busts for your fantasy basketball drafts. Michael Bolton.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today we're looking at busts. Yesterday we looked at sleepers. Today we're looking at busts. And what busts mean is not players that you don't draft. It's players that at their current ADP or rank value seem a little bit too high for me, so I'd never take them at that spot. If they fall 20, 30, 40 spots, whatever it is, then they're in consideration. But at the current spot where they're being valued, then probably don't want anything to do with them. So we'll talk about that today. Don't forget, Basketball Monster is open for subscription, so go ahead and join basketballmonster.com, get all of the projections over there, our comments, our tools, Trade Monster, projected standings, draft tracker, the most important thing for this time of year as well. So go and check out basketballmonster.com and check out the link below in this video or on the audio for our Discord channel. We're pushing up to 1,600 people in there at the moment, so some really good fantasy discussions going on over in the Discord. Enough of that, let's talk about busts. And let's start with guys who are busts based on the Yahoo ADP. Some of these are going to be pretty obvious, but it is important to highlight them. Kevin Huerter, old Fanapants at number 103. Yeah, it's not going to happen for him. Huerter last year was the 107th ranked player. He played 31 minutes a night, and now he's got Bogdan Bogdanovic, Chris Dunn, Cam Reddish, all these guys pushing for his minutes. He just isn't going to play 31 minutes. In fact, if he doesn't play 20 minutes a game, I would not be surprised. He could end up on another team, but there is no chance that you're wasting a 9th or 10th round selection on Kevin Huerter when his role looks like it's going to be slashed. Obi Toppin's at number 100 on Yahoo. I understand the fascination with Obi Toppin. He was the college player of the year. He's NBA ready. He scores well. And two of those things are true. He was the college player of the year. Previous college players of the year have been Frank Kaminsky, Frank Mason, Zion Williamson, yes. But when you're a 22-year-old college player of the year, as those other guys were, you're generally pretty shit in the NBA. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be the case for Toppin, but to me, it's absolutely no excuse isn't the right word. It's no justification for saying, well, he's going to be good because of that reason. It's something that happened, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be good. Julius Randle starting ahead of him. Are the Knicks, who just paid Julius Randle big money, going to just bench Randle and play Toppin 30 minutes for a coach by the name of Tom Thibodeau who doesn't like playing rookies, and the only thing he hates more than playing rookies is players who can't defend? And Toppin is both of those things. So you're needing a lot of things to go right here for Obi Toppin to return value at pick number 100. Julius Randle might get traded. Maybe they do bench him, but where's the value in taking Toppin here at this spot? I think it's going to be an up and down type of season for him. And even in a best case scenario, I don't think his game is that fantasy friendly, and he's a rookie. Anyway, it's enough. Toppin too high at 100. Derek Favors at 95. What the hell are we doing? The Jazz reckon they're going to try and play him and Gobert together at times. They shouldn't, and even if they do, he's just not going to get enough playing time to be justified inside the top 100. He was last year the 118th ranked player. I thought he'd be much better than that. He wasn't. There's just no way you're taking him at 95. Onyeka Okongwu at 110. Love Okongwu, but CAPELA is the starting center. John Collins will get some minutes at center. There's just no value in taking Okongwu at 110 unless one or multiple trades happen for the Atlanta Hawks, and you don't want to waste, again, a 10th round pick waiting for that to happen. 107 is Miles Bridges. Are we just basing this off last year? Because I don't know what we're doing with Miles Bridges here. I thought Miles Bridges had a real... No, let's try it again. Miles Bridges absolutely had a real chance last year to break out, and he didn't. He shit the bed. He couldn't shoot. Everything fell away. The minutes were fine. He just couldn't produce. 152nd ranked player in 31 minutes. And now there's a certain bloke by the name of Gordon Hayward who's going to come in and play his position. So Bridges isn't getting the same playing time. And at 107, what are we even doing? Like, there's no reason at all to be considering Miles Bridges in that position. Terry Rozier at 97. Like Bridges... ROZIER is in a huge risk of being put to the bench. If it's not for opening night, it might be 5 games in, it might be 10 games in, but LaMelo Ball is there. Maybe it's Devontae Graham that goes to the bench, but regardless, ROZIER is a guy that needs some decent usage and the ball in his hands. And with Melo and Gordon Hayward there, ROZIER is not going to have either of those things to the same level he did last year. Now, he was pretty good last year, but this is what I talked about so much last season. I don't think he's a good player at all, but somebody on Charlotte had to play minutes and take shots, and that somebody was him. It was also Devontae Graham. And now that somebody doesn't need to be him anymore. So I just don't see him playing the 34 minutes a night or getting the same usage or the same scoring or the same rank, and I wouldn't be taking him at pick number 96. KENTAVIOUS CALDWELL-POPE at 99 is honestly, it's inconsequential, but it's just an absolute head scratcher. He played 26 minutes a night last year and he was the 222nd ranked player. What are we expecting KENTAVIOUS CALDWELL-POPE to do? That his form in the playoffs all of a sudden becomes what he does in the regular season, and even then, he wasn't a great fantasy option? There's just no way. It absolutely makes no sense for him to be at number 99. Tristan Thompson at 117. I don't even know that Tristan Thompson's going to start. I think Daniel Tice is probably a better player than Tristan Thompson at this point in time. And at the very worst, or very best case for Thompson, it's a minute split between him and Tyson. Maybe they share the court for a minute or two. Thompson played 30 minutes a night last year and he's 136th ranked player. So we're expecting him to do better than he did in Cleveland when the team was terrible and he was just grabbing every rebound and playing all the minutes. I'm not expecting that, but apparently someone is because his ADP is 117. That is a strong-ass avoid for me. And let's talk the next guy because this is an interesting one, Zion. Zion is going to score a lot. He's going to score with really high efficiency, really high field goal percentage. They're going to be great categories. He's probably not going to hit threes. He's rebounding. Maybe that increases because Steven Adams can box out for him. Maybe. The free throw percentage is a massive negative. And look, if you do punt free throws, he does become like a third round type of a player. But at 24, I think you're just assuming that Zion's going to improve not only free throw percentage, but also, well, most importantly, those defensive numbers are going to come back. And maybe they do, but I'm not banking on it at almost top end area for Zion at this point. I'm just not banking on it. He was 143rd ranked player last year in 28 minutes a night. That's obviously not great. I think he'll be significantly better than that. But at 24, there's absolutely no value in taking Zion at that area. And then CARIS LEVERT at 85. Sure, LEVERT maybe gets traded for James Harden. Maybe he doesn't. He was the 113th ranked player last season, and now Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are back. I was going to say to play a full season, but we can't guarantee that for those guys. But they're back. And LEVERT will not get the same opportunities. He will not get the same usage. He will not get probably the same minutes, to be honest. And he might be on a different team. And that might be good for him. But at 85, there's no value in it. Like, where is the value of selecting him at number 85? There is value in Built Go, though, because we all have energy crises. We had hit that wall in the middle of the day, and we just go, man, I cannot be asked getting out of my chair, getting off the couch, going for a run, whatever it is, it's hard. Built Go is what helps you break through that wall. Whatever your wall is, Built Go can help you. It is easy. It's in an easy to take 1.5 ounce package, 3 flavors, peanut butter honey, chocolate coconut, and chocolate mint. It is the best workout gel on the market. It gives you 5-hour energy without that same crash feeling because it is natural and long lasting. It has the energy gel combined with collagen protein, B3, B6, B12, beta-alanine, honey, and some caffeine. The collagen in there also helps to produce joint, soft tissue, hair, and skin health. Visit BuiltGo.com and use the promo code LOCKED and you get 20% off your next order. So the promo code is LOCKED for 20% off at BuiltGo.com. Let's go. Let's go indeed. On to the next list of guys. Yahoo ADP busts. Jarrett Allen at 100. I like Jarrett Allen. Played well in the bubble, but Kyrie and KD's mate, DeAndre Jordan, is there. And regardless of if Allen starts or not, Jordan's going to cut into his playing time. As incorrect as that is, or in terms of incorrect as it is, of who's the better player, Allen or Jordan, it's clearly Allen, and he should be a 30-minute-a-night starter. We'll see how big the old testes are on Steve Nash and how he can negotiate that. Now, if he just says Kyrie and KD, like, sit down and shut up, Allen starting, this will give us the best chance to win, then kudos to him, and that makes some good value on Allen. But I don't know that I believe it. And the optics of firing Kenny Atkinson and then the next day starting DeAndre Jordan were horrible. And it makes me think that there is a little bit of a prerequisite in there that Jordan has to start over Allen, which is just horrendous for a guy who is 22 years old in Allen and a significantly better player. But we'll see. I'm just not burning pick 100 on him when, at 130, fine, if the upside is there. Let's flip this one out. The Italian cock.
Hands off my cock!
Danilo Gallinari. Allegedly, he is the backup to John Collins. We'll see how many games that lasts. I'm glad they're not going to just throw him in at the 3, though, because that will be horrendous. Gallinari was the 72nd ranked player last year in 30 minutes a night. If he's coming off the bench behind the Baptist, find it hard for him to get that many minutes. I have no idea why people are drafting him at 52. If you are making a huge mistake. It is just a horrible, horrible decision to draft him at that spot. The table, Montrezl Harrell at number 81. Harrell was 95th last year. He played 28 minutes a night. I think he plays fewer minutes. Marc Gasol is ahead of him. The usage with Harrell was what he really thrived on last year. I don't know if he gets that same usage on this team, but it's more just like, I just don't think he plays the same amount of minutes. Gasol is there. He's going to get his 24, 25. I think he can't play them together. Unless you're playing Gasol 20 minutes and Harrell 28, he's got no way of beating that number from last year. Blake Griffin comes in at number 78. And while I think Griffin is an absolute worthwhile flyer because he cannot be as bad as last year, where on a per game basis, he was 261st. Don't worry about where he was total, like per game. That was how bad he was. I worry horribly about his knees. The shooting numbers were horrendous. I think they have a big bounce back, but I'm not banking on him inside the top 80. Probably not even inside the top 100 for Blake. So I'm just not burning that pick on him that early. And then Anthony Edwards at 95. This is a bad rookie class, and people will say, nah, Josh, give it a chance. It is bad. There is a lot of depth in this class, but there are 7 blokes in next year's draft at this point that I would take over anybody in this draft. So just push everybody down the draft order. That's not even to mention that I don't think Anthony Edwards should have been at 1. I think I had him at 7. So if I've got 7 guys at least from next year's class coming in who I'd take ahead of the number 1 pick, plus probably another 3 or 4, I would have had Edwards in a regular draft maybe at 15, maybe. So I'm not getting overly like, oh man, it's the number 1 pick, he's this good. You might have a very different opinion on Anthony Edwards to me, and that is totally fine. But I think we have to look at it logically. D'Angelo Russell, Ricky Rubio in that backcourt. They just signed Malik Beasley to a big contract. They just drafted Jarrett Culver at 6 last year. Josh Okogie's shown potential. And I'm not saying that Culver or Okogie or Rubio are going to be playing more minutes than Edwards necessarily, but I'm just saying they're going to be playing minutes. So Edwards is not going to come in and play 37 a night and have the ball in his hands and get every shot possible. I think he's absolutely worth looking at pick 120, 130 maybe, for a flyer to see what goes on. But this is a guy that had horrible efficiency, low rebound, low assist numbers, low three-pointers in college, substandard free throw percentage. His fantasy game doesn't look good. And then you throw in the minutes crunch and the fact that he's a rookie. I'm not taking him at pick 95. There's absolutely no chance of that. Some more Yahoo ADP bust. Kemba Walker at 26. I think me and Matt talked about this on the Point Guard Tiers show, which don't forget to check that out because we have done point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, and later on today or tomorrow, depending on where you are, you'll have our Power Forward tier come out, Power Forward Tiers show come out. We talked about Kemba. He was the 46th ranked player last year. Yes, Gordon Hayward is gone, but Walker's knee is cooked. He's going to be limited to begin the season. He's probably going to be on fewer minutes this year. He's going to have some back-to-back issues. Jeff Teague is there as a backup to take some of these minutes away. There is no way that I'm even considering Kemba in the top 40, let alone in the top 30. Johnny Wall at 43. John Wall looks great in workouts. That's all well and good, but John Wall the last 2 years was last 2 years that he played. He hasn't played in 2 years. The last 2 years that he played was the 30th ranked player. So we're expecting him 2 years removed from an Achilles injury at age 30 to come back and be, almost the same guy. I'm not. There's no way that I'm expecting that. He'll be limited in his minutes, especially early. He'll miss back-to-backs. He'll probably have some efficiency concerns. And the fact is he's not the best player on the team anymore. Bradley Beal is that. So usage for Wall will probably drop as well. No way that I'm risking him at 43. Aaron Gordon. We have pre-recorded the Power Forward Tiers show, so just wait till you hear the discussion between me and Matt on Aaron Gordon on that. I think you'll enjoy it. But Gordo at ADP of 82, what are we doing? He was the 121st ranked player last year, and yes, Jonathan Isaac is out. So the immediate thought is, and I've seen this written by people before, now they could be right, they could be wrong, but oh man, Isaac's out, so Gordon's going to get more usage. Jonathan Isaac is not a high usage player. He is not a guy out there taking 20 shots per game. He is a low usage player, and Isaac out of the starting lineup doesn't mean they start 4 starters. Somebody comes in, and that somebody is probably going to be James Ennis, and they're probably just going to take similar amount of shots to what John Isaac did. So Gordon's usage, it might have a marginal uptick, but his lack of assists, steals, blocks, poor percentages, 3-pointers is what holds him back. And at 82, I just don't see... Look, he might be the 82nd best player at the end of the year. I just don't see the value of taking him there. Joshie Richardson at 99. Richardson struggled last year in Philadelphia, 128th ranked player. It's not like the usage is going to come any easier in Dallas with Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis there eventually. Tim Hardaway as well next to him. Richardson's value really comes on the defensive end, but he also thrived in his best season in Miami with having the ball in his hands and getting assists. And with Doncic, he's not going to have that opportunity. So Richardson's fine as a late pick, but at 99, again, I just think that that's a bit of a waste. Clint Capela at number 57. Capela has played a lot of minutes in the past. There's no doubt about that. 33, 34. That's under Mike D'Antoni. Lloyd Pierce is not Mike D'Antoni. Clint Capela's coming off a heel problem, a plantar fascia issue, and the fact that they drafted Onyeka Okongwu and John Collins can play at center. I would be stunned if Capela plays 33 minutes a night. Therefore, at 57, it feels like a bit of a waste to me. I think that I'd actually be pretty surprised if he actually got 30 minutes a night at this point. He can be useful, but in 26, 27 minutes, he's probably more useful, and that would take him out of that top 60 discussion for me. If you want to get basketball smart, it starts with listening to Hollinger and Duncan podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. NBA analytics pioneer and front office insider John Hollinger joins Dunked On podcast host Nate Duncan to bring you scouting reports, game breakdowns, and salary cap analysis. Subscribe to Hollinger and Duncan today, wherever you get podcasts. On to the next bunch of guys for Yahoo ADP bust. John Collins at 14. I've talked about this a bit, and you'll hear me talk again on the Power Forward tiers with Matt. I've said it already. Gallinari's there. Capela's there. Okongwu's there. These guys weren't there when Collins was putting up, the 13th overall value last year. That they weren't there. Atlanta is making moves. It appears like they don't believe in him to be that second star next to Trae Young. And fair enough if they believe that. So he's just not going to... You are expecting him to repeat what he did last year with Capela, Gallinari, Okongwu, Bogdanovic all in the lineup. Plus, there's DeAndre Hunter, whose best position is at the 4. Now, I don't think Hunter's good at all, but his best position is at the 4. There's just no way that Collins, he's striking me. If anyone is taking Collins, I'd love to know. If anyone listening to this podcast or watching this video is planning on taking John Collins at the beginning of the second round, please, can you let me know down below? Because I'm really interested. And you could be right. Like, Collins could just come out and get 24 and 12 and have 2 blocks and hit 2 threes, and completely, all these moves could be complete bullshit, and Gallinari plays 15 minutes a night for $20 million. I could be wrong. But is there any... There obviously is, because his ADP's at 14. Who is taking him at 14 is the question, and I want to know. And if you have a reason, please throw it below, because I'm really, really intrigued. RICHAUN Holmes at 72. Holmes is better than Hassan Whiteside. I'll stand by that, but that doesn't mean that he will play 30 minutes a night and Whiteside will play 18. And let's get... I laughed at the Kings, rightfully so, a lot of the time, right? I do it a lot. The signing of Frank Kaminsky, it doesn't impact RICHAUN Holmes. I don't care. They signed another center. That's cool. They needed a third guy. That doesn't impact him at all. Kaminsky's terrible. National Player of the Year, Frank Kaminsky, is terrible. And he is not... He's not impacting it, but the Whiteside is. And Marvin Bagley's best position is at the 4 as well. And that puts a real issue here for Holmes. Holmes was great last year. 56th ranked player in 28 minutes a night. You give him 31 minutes, he's probably a top 40 guy. It's just unlikely to happen at this point. Jrue Holiday at 28. Holiday played like 35 minutes a night last year. Under Mike Budenholzer, that just doesn't happen. He was the 31st ranked player last year, so we're expecting him to get better from where he was last year and play those same minutes? No thanks. Maybe a 5th round guy more to me than an early 3rd, late 2nd. Ja Morant at 33. This one might be a little bit controversial. I like Morant a lot. I think he's going to have some big numbers, but he doesn't hit threes. He doesn't get steals. His free throw percentage is adequate to below average. I just think if you're taking him at 33, he could be the 33rd, but he could be the 25th best player, right? He could be all that. If you're taking him there, I think you're just cutting off all upside value for him. And it is hard to get point guards in those rounds, so maybe you have to do it, and that's a justification. So this is not a huge bust, but it's one where I go, well, it just might not work for Morant. He just might not be that guy. He was the 75th ranked player last year. I think he'll play more minutes this year, comfortably. And he'll be better than that. And he'll probably be a top 50 guy. I'm just not comfortable at 33. Bud Hield at 49. The Kings, if they were smart, again, they're the Kings, so they're not, they would start Tyrese Halliburton over Buddy eventually, or early on, and Buddy would play a 25-minute role coming off the bench. I don't think they'll do that. The 49 isn't outrageous for Hield, but I just think that it's not going to... It might look good for the start of the season, and I think it will fall off a little bit after that one, would be my guess. Let's look at some of the Yahoo ranks versus ADPs and talk about some busts there. Talk about Herder and Toppin already. Cam Reddish at 102. No. Look, I think Reddish might start, but you're expecting him to all of a sudden play 32 a night, have big improvements from last season to be the 102nd ranked player. You're absolutely kidding yourselves. RJ Barrett at 113. I think Barrett is a worthwhile selection in later rounds, and it's not terrible to have him there. He was the 267th ranked player in 30 minutes a night last year. Like, horrible stuff. Mainly because his percentages are just so bad, and I worry that his efficiency is never going to be good. I don't mind him at 113. I think he's more of a 140s, 150s sort of a flyer type player, but yeah, I think that's a little high. LeVert at 72, we already talked about how ridiculous that is. Zion's ranked at 23, no thanks. Tyrese Halliburton at 107, I just mentioned, I think it would be great to see Halliburton start next to De'Aaron Fox. But again, at 107, you're expecting him to come in and play 30 minutes immediately and be passable as a rookie, and those things probably aren't going to happen, so I reckon we can pass on that one. Andy Wiggins at 57. Come on, guys, what are we even doing? There's no way. Andy Wiggins at 57. I don't understand. He was a 77th ranked player last year. He played 34 minutes a night. He probably plays 34 again, but he doesn't get steals or blocks or rebounds. His assists did improve. He's a terrible free throw shooter. There's just no way I'm looking at him in that area. Not even close. Anthony Edwards at 88 and Aaron Gordon at 67. That is an absolute laugh. Aaron Gordon at 67 in a rank. Some more rank busts. Jarrett Allen at 105. We talked about that already. Tyler Hero.
Everyone has a hero.
True.
0 people shouldn't have a hero.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero's ranked at 66 on Yahoo. Calm down. I think there's a chance that he starts. He was obviously really good in the bubble. There are going to be nights where the shooting is way off. He doesn't get steals or blocks. He's an okay-ish rebounder. He'll hit some threes. I think he can be a top 80 guy, maybe. 70 or 66 is nonsense to me. When we look at other guys who are ranked outside that area in terms of the Yahoo rank, Mike Conley's ranked 111th. I'll have Conley every day of the week there. Wendell Carter's at 93. Steven Adams at 87. Colin Sexton even at 93. Lonzo Ball at 81. That's just taking away all the upside there for Hero. Griffin's at 83. We talked about that. Walker at 96. Not 96, 26. Because Dennis Schroeder's the guy that's at 96. And a lot of people, questioning when we did the point guard tiers, where's Dennis Schroeder? You're way out on Dennis Schroeder. And yeah, I am. He was the 86th ranked player last year in 31 minutes a night. He probably plays 30 minutes a night again as a sixth man coming off the bench. But you're trying to find the role for Schroeder, expecting him to maintain that level of shooting. And remember, when he didn't play with Chris Paul last year, he was horrendous. I think that there is some shooting regression that could happen here for Dennis. I think there is some usage regression, which will almost definitely happen here for Dennis, especially sharing the second unit with Montrezl Harrell. And that's why I've got him outside the top 100 and 120 and don't want to take him at 96. Ricky Rubio at 61. Love Rubio, but I have no confidence. This is the rank assuming he plays 32 a night, which he doesn't. John Wall at 50. Capella at 58. Brandon Clarke at 73 is an interesting one. I think Clarke might be worth that if Jaren Jackson misses to begin the season. But otherwise, how is he getting enough minutes to be that good? He was 105th last year in 22 minutes. I think he probably plays a couple of extra. But at 73, you're pissing on the value there. And Johnny Collins at 13. Come on. Let's move across to ESPN, where we got some busts as well. Obi Toppin at 72. I've talked about him already. Kendrick Nunn at 118. I implore you. Look, Kendrick Nunn last year was a... Let's hit it.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
It was really surprising. He was still the 134th ranked player in 29 minutes. I see no way that he gets 29 minutes this year. Not only is Tyler Hero better than him and will play more minutes than him, but they brought Avery Bradley into the guard rotation. So you've got Dragic, you've got Hero, you've got Bradley in that mix now. Like, where is Nunn sitting? Like, I just don't understand how he could possibly... You'd be thinking that he's getting that amount of playing time. or to be significantly better. Now, maybe he comes in and they surprise me and he's the starter from night one and they play him 35 minutes a night. I just don't see it. Oh, the other guy, I mess in that backcourt, Duncan Robinson. So there's 4 guards already, and you can say Duncan Robinson's a 3, that's fine. Then Jimmy Butler is in the backcourt mix. I think he's the 11th man in this rotation, and unless they want to cut Myers Leonard out of the rotation, which they could, even though they just paid him $9 million for this year, then none comes in, but he's just not getting 29 minutes a night. Schroeder at 50 is laughable. Malik Beasley at 76, just you cut and paste what I said about Anthony Edwards earlier. Beasley had a nice, 10-game run for the Wolves where he shot like 45% from 3. He's just not going to, and in that run, there was no Karl Anthony Towns, so he's getting tons of shots. So he moves to 3rd option now, behind Russell and Towns, maybe 4th if you include Edwards in that mix. The minutes won't be there, the shooting will regress, and the usage will drop down. So yeah, no way at 76 for him. And Spencer Dinwiddie at 109. Dinwiddie is a guy that needs the ball. He needs the minutes, he needs the ball in his hands. He's going to have neither the minutes nor the ball in his hands. He gets no steals, he's a bad shooter. He's not a great free throw guy either. He's a low rebound player, and he's just not going to get those opportunities. Now sure, if he's traded, then numbers can really, really improve. But if he's traded, if he's not, then this is an absolute waste of a pick at 109. On ESPN as well, Montrezl Harrell's at 60. That is an absolute laugher. It's a cackler. There's no way you're picking him at 60. Lou Williams at 71 is too high for my liking, as is LeVert at 79 and Jarrett Allen at 93. And then you've got Jinglin Joe Ingles, who we all love, but he's just a little bit past that now. He was the 116th ranked player last year. They got him at 107, and I think the arrival of Derek Favors might actually... It could improve a little bit of his efficiency coming off the bench, but we've got a full season of a healthy Mike Conley now, which is going to impact Ingles. And remember, a lot of his damage was done last year when he moved back to the starting lineup. I don't think that's happening this year. I think his role decreases. He's 33 years of age as well, Joe, so probably going to be a bit of a decline. I'm just not willing to pick him at number 107 there. Some more ESPN busts. Jrue Holiday at 20. Come on, guys. Ja Morant at 25, way too high. Johnny Collins at 19, no thanks. There is a run in these rankings. John Collins at 19, hate it. Jrue Holiday at 20, hate it. Donovan Mitchell at 21, hate it. De'Aaron Fox at 22, hate it. That is 4 guys in a row on those ranks that I just do not get. Now, Fox and Mitchell's never been outside the top or inside the top 40 in fantasy. Maybe he improves. You're expecting quite a bit considering his situation hasn't changed in Utah. And De'Aaron Fox, maybe he gets better and becomes a better shooter. Probably not, but maybe he does. I think that these guys are fine in the 40s. Holiday, Collins, Fox, Mitchell, that's probably the right area. Even Morant, but ESPN's got them all inside the top 25 and it feels way too high for me. Just go through some Fantrax ADP busts to round things out. A lot of these guys we've spoken about already. Anthony Edwards at 70. Guys, no. Montrezl Harrell at 64. You're joking. Devontae Graham at 66. Now, this is an interesting one to me. I haven't spoken about Graham. I am way down on Devontae Graham this year. He was last year the 58th ranked player. He played 35 minutes a night. Now, with LaMelo Ball arriving, I think Rozier is going to take a hit. I think Graham's going to take a hit as well. So his assist opportunities will drop. His usage will drop, and I think his playing time actually drops a little bit as well. I want nothing to do with him at a spot that high, especially with that field goal percentage drain. Maybe this isn't as egregious as I'm making it out to be. I just don't like it. Here's Serge Ibaka at 81. Ibaka last year was 89th in 27 minutes. Okay, maybe he can be there. I am not 100% convinced, and I wouldn't be taking that risk on him at 81. And then Andy Wiggins at 68. And the last bunch of Fantrax ADP busts, Tim Hardaway at 102. I cannot find a justification for that. Hardaway was ranked 151st last year, so we're expecting more from him this year. With Josh Richardson arriving, no thank you. Hassan Whiteside at 45. Let's hit it.
The world.
I don't think that he starts for this team. I don't think that he plays 30 minutes. His opinion amongst some is so far off what I think he is that it's really hard to get a gauge of him. I just think he's terrible. And he does put up numbers when he plays, but I don't think he gets those 30 minutes. He's a minimum signing contract for the Kings. Tyler Hero at 77, no thanks. Jaylen Brown at 37. What are people smoking over on Fantrax? Jaylen Brown is a good player. He's not the 37th best fantasy player. He was 61st last year. So we're expecting a pretty large leap up to expect him to do that. He's not a high steals and blocks guy. He had some big improvements in percentages. That could easily regress. In fact, I think his free throws did regress over the second half of the season. So there is definitely a worry there with him. And then Ingram at 26. Ingram was 28th last year, and now he's got to try a new coach, slower pace, I believe, and a full Zion season. You look at a guy, look at 26 for Ingram and say, how can he get better? How can he beat that number? Because in general, that's sort of what you want to look at. Or you want to look at it, how can he beat that number? Or how can he fail to live up that number? Weigh them up, like which side is most likely. And I go, if him beating the number, it's pretty low. Him not getting there, like it's real high. Zion, new coach, pace, shooting regression, all those things are going against him. And then going for him is they paid him. I don't know. I don't know what the reason for him to get better than last year is. I don't know where that comes from when I compare it to the amount of things that could go wrong for Brandon Ingram. That'll do it for today's Busts show. Don't forget, leave a comment down below. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. Thumbs up. Tell everybody about it. Join the Discord. And most importantly, join Basketball Monster. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.